Arthur Rowland leaned against the worn wooden bar, the dim lights of the tavern throwing long shadows over his face, accentuating the lines etched by years of searching for elusive truths. A blues song played mournfully in the background, its melancholy notes matching the grizzled detective's introspective mood. His eyes, windows to a soul that had witnessed too much, scanned the sea of patrons, lost souls seeking solace in a bottle, their stories swirling around them like spectral fog. "Do you want another, Arthur?" said Sally, the bartender, her seasoned eyes revealing a lifetime of unspoken tales. Roland contemplated the half-empty whiskey glass before him, the golden liquid shimmering like the promise of peace he'd never find. "Maybe just one more, Sally," he said, his voice carrying the timbre of gravel crunching under weary boots. As Sally poured him another drink, he recalled the reason for his journey to Johns Creek, an otherwise nondescript Georgian town. A peculiar case, drug dealing with inexplicable phenomena, whispered tales of odd occurrences, and an abandoned warehouse that loomed ominously in every story. In the corner of the tavern, an old man named Cecil, a local, nursed his bottle of cheap bourbon. With his watery eyes and trembling hands, he seemed like just another tragic character in the theater of life. Yet he claimed to have once worked in the warehouse before it was abandoned. His tales were as intoxicating as the liquor he consumed. Arthur approached him, offering to refill his drink. Cecil accepted, his rheumy eyes reflecting a blend of wariness and gratitude. They exchanged pleasantries before Arthur gently steered the conversation to the warehouse. "The old place," Cecil began, his voice trailing off, eyes lost in memories. "Strange things happened there, Mr. Rowland. Shadows moved when they shouldn't. Sounds that didn't belong. Cold whispers in the dead of summer." Arthur listened, a part of him wrestling with the desire to dismiss the tales as the ramblings of an old drunk, yet a deeper instinct urged him to listen. His past losses had scarred him, left him hollow, but they'd also given him the gift of open-mindedness. He was no stranger to pain, to the dark chasms of despair that yawned beneath the surface of reality. "That place. It ain't normal, Detective," Cecil murmured, his gaze distant. "There's a darkness there, a presence. I don't know what it is, but I reckon it's something not of this world." A chill raced down Arthur's spine as he digested the old man's words. An undefined fear clouded his thoughts, not of the supposed supernatural, but the fear of losing himself in another case, another truth that might lead him further into the abyss of sorrow. Yet he knew he could not turn away. The whispers in the dark had begun, and he was irrevocably drawn towards them, just as he was drawn to the memory of his lost siblings. The promise of a quiet retirement faded against the allure of the unknown. Leaving Cecil with a pat on his frail shoulder and a fresh bottle of bourbon, he stood and donned his coat. As he stepped into the chill night air, the town of Johns Creek before him and the haunted warehouse looming on its outskirts, he felt the weight of the unknown heavy on his heart. The wind whistled through the empty streets, carrying with it the whispered secrets of the old warehouse. He knew then that he was about to delve into the heart of darkness, chasing echoes of whispers in the night. The truth was out there, waiting to be uncovered, no matter the cost. Arthur stood at the periphery of the warehouse's yawning entrance, the desolation of the structure in stark contrast to the quiet life of Johns Creek. The gray sky above mirrored the desolate edifice, their somber tones painting a picture of desolation that burrowed into his soul. Graffiti covered the warehouse walls, the vibrant colors and crude art, an eerie juxtaposition to the uncanny silence that enveloped the structure. Even the wind seemed hesitant to enter, its gusts retreating as they neared the threshold. The massive iron doors, ajar and protesting with an ethereal squeal, invited him into the darkness. Stepping over the threshold, he felt a change in the air. It was colder, denser, and carried an inexplicable charge that pricked at his skin, raising goosebumps. It felt as though he'd walked into a different world, the mundane reality of the town replaced by something ineffable and disquieting. Pools of weak sunlight fought their way through the grimy windows, revealing a cavernous space. a potent cocktail of decay, dampness, and something uncannily metallic filled his nostrils. He moved slowly, his boots scuffing against the grime-encrusted floor, each step echoing around him like whispers in a cathedral. The warehouse was littered with debris, empty crates, broken bottles, discarded syringes. The remnants of illicit activities were clear, but amidst the typical detritus, there were oddities. Odd symbols marked the floor, drawn with a substance that shimmered under the light. A chill ran down his spine, his detective's intuition sensing a depth to the crime beyond mere drug dealing. Huddled in a corner was a man, ragged and desperate. Upon seeing Arthur, he scuttled back, eyes wide with primal fear. He approached cautiously, hands held outward in a calming gesture. His years of police work had honed his ability to diffuse tense situations, but he felt an undercurrent of something beyond mere criminal fear. "Easy now," Arthur said calmly, keeping his voice steady. "I'm here to help." The man, barely more than a boy, looked at him, eyes glossed over, veins pulsating ominously in his scrawny arms. He babbled incoherently at first, words tripping over each other in a feverish tumble. But amidst the nonsensical ramblings, a phrase emerged, repeated like a mantra of the damned. "Doors to the stars, doors to the stars." Arthur stiffened. The phrase Cecil had used in the tavern echoed in his ears, intertwining with the junkie's desperate chant. The ramblings of an old man and a drug-addled youth suddenly held a weight that he could not ignore. The mystery of the warehouse grew, tangling him in a web of unease. In the silence following the junkie's whispers, Arthur looked around the warehouse, seeing it anew. It wasn't just a haven for illicit activities. It was a canvas for a far darker narrative. With a sigh that clouded in the chilly air, he prepared himself to delve deeper, not just into the case, but into a realm where the known laws of reality seemed to shiver in anticipation. The journey into the abandoned had only just begun. The whispers of Johns Creek were no longer mere whispers to Arthur. They had swelled into a discordant symphony. The small town was tainted with an undercurrent of something unnatural, its quaint facade cracking to reveal a strange, unfathomable layer. Doors to the stars, a phrase initially dismissed as mere rambling, began to resonate with an eerie truth. Driven by a gnawing hunger for answers, he retreated to his temporary lodgings, a quiet inn untouched by the uncanny. His room was a modest refuge of warmth and familiarity amidst the otherworldly undertones. Yet even within these comforting walls, the case haunted his thoughts. He set to work, dissecting the clues that unfolded from the warehouse. His detective's intuition guided him through the tapestry of clues and unearthed the obscure lore of cosmic horrors, a realm of knowledge that dwarfed human comprehension. The symbols found within the warehouse, once indecipherable, began to align with ancient knowledge, tales of old whispered amongst astronomers and archaeologists. These symbols were keys, cosmic keys, opening the doors to the stars. The reality of the drug dealings had become a footnote in a story far older and intricate than he had ever imagined. Reports from the local hospital hinted at a peculiar pattern in the drug users of Johns Creek. Victims came with distorted realities, strange hallucinations, and experiences of missing time. These symptoms, while easily attributed to drug abuse, carried an uncanny similarity to the accounts of those who claimed to have crossed cosmic thresholds. Arthur found himself at the precipice of belief and skepticism. His open mind, forged in the fire of personal loss and years of unraveling human complexity, began to grasp the threads of the impossible. Could it be that his small-town drug case was a window to something far more profound and unsettling? In his search for answers, he sought out the lone junkie from the warehouse. Confined to a hospital bed, the boy seemed even more lost, his fear replaced with a haunting emptiness. Arthur sat beside him, the hospital's sterile environment a stark contrast to their last encounter. "The doors. Did you open them?" Arthur asked, his voice softened with empathy. The boy's eyes flickered, a glimmer of recognition dancing within the hollow gaze. "Not me. Them. They opened the doors, invited the stars, the eyes." His voice tapered into silence, leaving Arthur with a chilling riddle. His mind spun with the boy's words. The entities he had read about in the obscure lore and creatures from beyond the stars loomed in his thoughts. A grim realization settled over him. The doors to the stars were not mere hallucinations. They were pathways to alien realities, each door a portal to unknown worlds. The drugs, it seemed, were not the end, but a means, an initiation into an unthinkable reality. Under the infinite expanse of the night sky, Arthur returned to the warehouse. The structure seemed more foreboding than before, its lifeless silhouette under the pale moonlight whispering tales of cosmic secrets. The echoes of his footsteps bounced off the graffiti-laden walls, each step bringing him closer to a reality that defied comprehension. His heart pounded in his chest, a lone drum echoing in the vast symphony of the universe. Entering the warehouse, he felt the familiar shift in the air. The chill, the unworldly silence, the uncanny charge. They welcomed him like an old friend, or perhaps like a moth drawn to its inevitable demise. His senses were heightened, the awareness of his impending voyage into the unknown, setting his nerves on edge. Under the dim light of his flashlight, the symbols on the floor seemed to pulse, their glow an eerie beacon in the heart of the warehouse. He stood at the edge of the painted circle, the cosmic key vibrating under his scrutiny. There was no turning back now. He was the seeker of truth, the harbinger of closure, the cosmic detective at the threshold of the unfathomable. Drawing in a deep breath, he stepped into the circle. The air around him rippled, the temperature dropped, and a subtle hum filled the warehouse. Reality shivered, as if protesting against the unnatural. But he remained steadfast, anchored by his resolve and the memories of his lost siblings, his past traumas, a beacon in the abyss. Then the ordinary world fell away. The crumbling walls of the warehouse blurred. The night sounds faded into silence, and even the solid floor beneath him seemed to dissipate. Before his awed eyes, the cosmos unfurled. Galaxies swirled in an unending dance. Stars sparkled like timeless diamonds, and nebulae blossomed like ethereal roses in the garden of the universe. It was a sight of unspeakable beauty, a panorama of cosmic splendor that threatened to overwhelm his senses. Yet within this celestial majesty lurked an unsettling presence, a darkness that gnawed at the edges of this resplendent vista, a void filled with unseen watchers, their gaze a palpable force that pierced his very soul. A voice, or perhaps a thought, filled his mind. "You stand on the precipice, Arthur Rowland. The doors have been opened. Will you embrace the truth or fall into oblivion?" The voice was formless, a symphony of countless whispers, like the echoes of the universe itself. Fear gnawed at him, a primal instinct warning him of the abyss. But Arthur, anchored by his unwavering will, responded, "I seek the truth, no matter the cost." As his declaration echoed in the cosmic expanse, he felt a shift. The unseen watchers seemed to retreat, their oppressive gaze receding like a tide. The celestial panorama swirled faster, galaxies blurring into streaks of light and color. Suddenly, he was back in the warehouse. But the unseen watchers had left a mark, an indelible impression of cosmic horror that stained his soul. He was no longer merely a detective on a drug case. He was the lone sentinel standing against a cosmic tide, the guardian of reality against otherworldly intruders. As he stumbled out of the warehouse, the first light of dawn painted the sky in hues of rose and gold. Exhausted but determined, Arthur knew that his ordeal was far from over. Days melted into nights as he prepared for his final stand. His mundane existence in Johns Creek had become a phantasmal echo, his reality forever marred by the cosmic horrors that lurked beyond the known. The once quaint town was now a battleground, its tranquility a false facade cloaking the interstellar war within its core. His studies grew fervent, every waking moment dedicated to deciphering the cryptic lore. Ancient texts whispered of rituals and cosmic axioms that could close the doors. Symbols of containment and banishment danced in his dreams, their arcane essence seeping into his being. There was a gnawing sense of urgency, a ticking cosmic clock that echoed in the quietude. Unseen watchers from beyond the stars grew impatient, their oppressive presence a constant reminder of the inevitable confrontation. He felt the gaze of countless alien entities, their formless shapes clawing at the edges of his sanity. A final visit to the hospital-bound junkie revealed a frail shell of a human, his life force drained, eyes vacant of any remaining spark. It was a chilling preview of what awaited the town, a grim testament to the horrors from beyond the stars. He vowed to prevent such a fate, his resolve hardened by the tangible evidence of the cosmic nightmare. Equipped with knowledge and haunted by the urgency of his task, he once again ventured into the warehouse, the epicenter of the cosmic anomaly. His heart echoed a steady rhythm against his ribs, a mortal drum in the symphony of the cosmos. The air was electrified with anticipation, the unseen watchers awaiting his next move. He walked to the center of the glowing circle, its eerie light painting his features in otherworldly hues. Holding a piece of chalk, he etched symbols of banishment onto the concrete floor, each stroke a defiance against the alien oppressors. The chalk left glowing trails of power in its wake, a testament to the ancient knowledge imbued within these symbols. As he etched the final symbol, a rush of power pulsed through the warehouse. The air rippled, reality shivered, and the unseen watchers recoiled. A wordless chant resonated within his mind, a mantra bestowed by the ancient texts. It filled the warehouse, a sonic shield against the entities. Then he felt it, a cosmic tug, a folding of reality. The astral panorama unfolded around him, the cosmos revealing itself in all its majestic terror. But he stood strong, the symbols of banishment his beacon amidst the stellar abyss. The unseen watchers roared, their formless voices a symphony of rage and frustration. He felt their wrath, their gaze piercing his very being. But he did not falter. For every gaze that pierced him, he retaliated with the chant, his voice a defiant proclamation in the cosmic expanse. The battle was not without its toll. Each moment drained him, his mortal frame straining against the overwhelming force. He felt his life force ebbing, a candle flickering in the cosmic wind. But his resolve did not waver. If his end was inevitable, he would ensure it was not in vain. With a final burst of energy, he roared the chant, his voice reverberating through the collapsing cosmic vista. The unseen watchers recoiled, their oppressive presence diminishing until there was nothing but the tranquil silence of the cosmos. The doors to the stars were closing. Reality snapped back. Arthur was in the warehouse, the ethereal glow of the circle fading into obscurity. The oppressive air had lifted, replaced by the mundane stillness of the abandoned building. With his strength depleted, he collapsed on the concrete floor. His breaths were shallow, his vision blurring at the edges. As his consciousness slipped away, he felt a strange sense of peace, a satisfaction of a duty fulfilled. His life, marked by loss and search for truth, had culminated in a sacrifice to safeguard his world. The morning sun spilled into the warehouse, casting long shadows that danced on the concrete floor. Arthur Rowland, the cosmic detective, lay silent amidst the tranquility, his final stand a testament to his selfless courage. His journey had ended, not with a whisper, but with a roar that echoed across the cosmos. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, show your support with a like and subscribe, and stay notified by hitting the bell icon. Expect more cosmic horror from Eldritch Tales Factory, and feel free to explore our other stories. See you in the next video.